Today's daf is daf Ayin Ches. We're going to begin Ayin Ches on base. Boy Rava asked the Shaila, Hare alai Eila. A person says, it's upon me to bring a burnt offering, a heap to share, and he then set aside a bull for this purpose. Another person came and stole the bull. Can the ganav exempt himself from liability by repaying the owner with the sheep? According to the opinion of the Chachamim, or are you paying him with a bird used as a burnt offering, according to the opinion of Rabbi ben Azariah? Person says, it's upon me to bring a burnt offering. Yavi keves. He has to bring a bull or a sheep as a burnt offering to fulfill his vow. Yavi tir ben ina. He can bring a turtle dove or a young pigeon as a burnt offering. So what's the halach in this case? Do we say that he accepted upon himself a korban, an animal with the status of a burnt offering, in which case any animal that fulfills this requirement will suffice? Or perhaps the owner can say to the ganav, I want to perform the best possible optimal mitzvah, which is by bringing a bull. Therefore, you must pay me back a bull. After he raised the shayla, Rabbi himself resolved, and he says, "Ganav beiter atzrin bekeves l'rabanan." The safe of Rabbi ben Azariah, the ganav can exempt himself from liability by repaying the owner with a sheep, according to the opinion of the Chachamim, or repaying him with a bird to be used as a burnt offering, according to the opinion of Rabbi ben Azariah. Racha teaches the halacha explicitly, without the question and answer format. Amar Rava says, Hare alai Eila. Person says, upon me to bring a burnt offering. They have to share, and then he set aside a bull for this purpose. Another person came and stole the bull. He exempts himself from liability by repaying the owner with a sheep, or by repaying with a bird to be used as a burnt offering, according to Rabbi ben Azariah. Mishnah: if a ganav sold a stolen animal in a partial fashion, except for 1/100th of it, which he kept for himself, or he had a partnership in owning the animal before stealing. In case of a ganav who slaughtered the stolen animal, and it became a non-kosher meat in his hand because he shechted it improperly. Or in the case of a thief who ripped open the animal rather than shechting it halachically. In the case of a ganav who tore loose the gullet or windpipe of the animal as he shechted it, making it invalid. So in all these cases, Mishalim Tashtum Kefil, he has to pay the double payment. In the Mishalim Tashtum Bava Kamah, but he does not pay 4 or 5 times that amount. The 4 or 5 times applies only in the animal. The animal is entirely sold or shechted, and according to the halachic definition of the animal's shechting. So the Gemara asks, what does it mean the ganav sold the animal except for 1/100th of it? Which part of the animal must the ganav keep for himself for him to be exempt from the dollar of the hay? He means that he sold everything except for some part of the animal that becomes permitted through its shechting. This does not apply to horns or a sheep's fleece, which do not require shechting in order to be saved. Levi says, except for its fleece. The ganav is exempt even if he sells the whole animal except for the fleece. Ask the Shaila. If a ganav sold the whole animal except for the foreleg, except for the hind leg, except for the horn, it does not pay for the Bava Kamah. Rabbi Eimer, if a guy sells an animal except for the part of whose absence invalidates the shkita, he does not pay Bava Kamah. But if he leaves out from the sale as part of the animal whose abstinence does not invalidate the shkita, he has to pay 4 or 5 times. In other words, if an animal is missing one of its vital organs, its liver, one of its intestines, its gullet, its windpipe, it's considered already dead, and it's shechted at the stage. At that stage, it would be invalid. The ganav to be exempt for daled v'hei payment on the grounds of the incomplete sale, he must retain one of the organs for himself. Rabbi Shimon means if the ganav, he explains that if the ganav sells the whole animal except for the horns, he does not pay 4 or 5 times. Except if he sells the whole animal except for his fleece, he does pay 4 or 5 times. Now the word explains. According to the opinion of Levi, the price does not present a difficulty as Bava as the sock is like that of the first Bava Kamah. But according to the opinion of Rabbi, does not present difficulty. As in accordance with whose opinion does this rule. None of the 3 opinions expressed in the Raisa correlate with that of Rav. I already said Rav the Amar Ki'aitana. Rav says the opinion according to the opinion of this Tana. Time the Rabbi Agana sold the entire animal except for the foreleg or except for the hind leg. And Mashal Bava Kamah does not pay Bava Kamah. Except if he sold the entire animal except for its horns, or except for its fleece, he pays 4 or 5 times. What are the arguments? Tana Kamah holds, when the Torah says, if a man steals a sheep, shechts it, the term shechting indicates that we require him to shecht all of it to incur liability. He need to sell the entire thing, not leaving any portion for himself. But Rabbi says, a shechting is referring to parts of an animal that are affected by a shchita. Referring to parts of the animal that are affected by a shechting, which serves to exclude parts of the animal that are not affected by a shchita. And the mechor is doing the tzvicha. So if the sale excludes the animal's fleece or horns, those parts are not affected by the shchita. So there's still a chiyuv to pay 4 or 5 times the amount. Shimon Elazar Eimer, Shimon ben Elazar Savar Karno. He holds that, according to the first version of the opinion, that the animal's horns, the lemigas kaima, have a shear, which is not meant to be cut off the animal's lifetime, is considered significant withholding. If the thief keeps the part for himself, and he does not pay for Bava Kamah. He's a fleece, the lemigas kaima, which is meant to be cut off in the animal's lifetime. They have a shear, is not considered significant withholding. The guy that keeps it for himself. We just thought of the debate of Shimon Elazar Savar. The forelegs and the hind leg, which require shchita, have a shear, are considered a significant withholding. He's not paying 4 or 5 times. Because he sell torn in its fleece, which does not require shechting, they have a shear, not considered a significant withholding if the thief keeps it for himself. Kash did Rabbi Elazar, on the Rabbi Elazar. So why it's just today tonight, but leave the Rabbi Elazar. 2 Tanaim will disagree with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon Elazar. Tell Rabbi Anam that Rabbi Yisrael. Hagleidim hakitas v'sachiges v'sasuma. If one steals an animal that is missing a limb, or that is lame, v'chein, or blind, and agreed behem is a shutaf, and similarly, one who steals an animal belonging to several partners, and he sold it, so he's chayav to pay if daled behem shutaf and shigavnu. Several partners who stole an animal together and sell it are exempt. So the atay shutaf and shigavnu chayavin. I've done this chayav. I'm not going to kash a kamashut to the shigavnu mechaveri. Either Brisa states that he is exempt, it's referring to one partner who stole an animal from another partner, There in the Brisa states that he's chayav dealing with a partner who, together with the other thieves, stole an animal from someone else outside the group. One might have thought that a partner who stole an animal from another partner shechted it, it just says in shechting, which indicates that we require liability, shechting all of it, and in this case it's not so. One who steals an animal that he partly owns is not chayav for slaughtering his own portion. Likewise, if some partner steal an animal, the one who slaughters is not liable for shechting the portion of the fellow thieves. Here, the Brisa states that the Ganav is chayav is referring to a partner who shechted the animal with the knowledge and consent of another partner. Here, the Brisa states that the thief is exempt, is speaking of a partner who slaughtered the animal without the knowledge of another partner in the theft. So one who shechts it is acting solely on his own and is not chayav for the shechting of his partner's share, which is why he is putter from any payments. The Ganav sold an animal except for 30 days. Except for the work. Except for its fetus. What's the halacha? According to the opinion, says that a fetus is considered its mother's thigh, part of its mother. It's no shaila. It's clear that the thief, by retaining the fetus, has withheld part of the animal. According to the one who holds that the fetus is not considered mother's thigh, it has the status of an independent being. Do we say that since it's attached to the mother, the thief keeps the fetus for himself is considered a significant withholding? Or perhaps since it stands to become detached from the mother, then Le'avashir is not considered a withholding. Now, those who state a different analysis, since a fetus is not considered its mother's thigh, Le'avashir, it's not considered withholding. Or perhaps keeping the tzarach nishtada b'hadin geshita, or perhaps since it needs its mothers to be rendered permitted for consumption through the mother's shechita, command the shayra go for dummy. It's considered as though the Ganav has withheld a part of the mother's body. Teiku. Wait a papa. Abbas shayla. Genovik to machor mao. One stole an animal, severed one of its limbs, and then sold it. What's the halacha? We say the essential factor is the part of what he stole he has not sold. As the missing limb was not sold, and therefore he is putter from the dalvei. Or perhaps perhaps the essential factor is that with regard to what he sold, he has not withheld any part for himself. Teiko. Person stole an animal and gave it to another, and that person shefted it for himself. Or he stole an animal and gave it to another, and that person sold it himself. The guy who is chayav to pay dalvei, as performing these actions through a shliach, is equivalent to performing them by himself. Gana v'hiktish, Gana v'hikif, Gana v'hichtis. If he stole an animal and was makdash it, he stole an animal and sold it on credit, or he stole an animal in exchange for another item, Gana v'nasim v'matana, or he stole an animal and gave it to another as a gift, Gana v'para chaviri, or he stole an animal and gave it to another as a gift, Gana v'para b'kefir, he stole an animal and used it to repay his debt, Gana v'shalach silingus v'beis chamav, he stole an animal and used it to pay an item he purchased on credit, or he stole an animal and sent it to form of a present and his following his house. So Mashal the Bava Kamah. So when I ask my Kamashma, what's the Brisa teaching us? Well, all these halachas are obvious. So the Gemara says, the first clause teaches us through the case of one who stole an animal and gave it to another, that there is agency for Aveda. When you say the Torah's principle is that an Aveda committed by a shliach who was appointed by another person is not considered the act of one who appointed the agent, but an independent act of the agent himself. The case discussed that Bryce is an exception to the rule, as there the shliach's shechters or sale of the animal is legally considered the action of the thief. My time, what's the reason that this case is an exception to the principle? and Shechting sells it. Just like just as one becomes liable for selling the lav acher, just like one becomes chayav for selling, which by definition is impossible without another party. Avtzisha is also the acher mechayev by the buyer, so to one becomes liable for shechting even when it means to another party. When the thief instructs another person to shecht the animal on his behalf. When the sefer of a gun of a hikdish, a later clause of the Brisa teaches us a chiddush that gun of a hikdish, if he's stolen his makdashit, mali mechila le'adit, mali mechalim b'shamayim. The chiddush is that it's considered a sale, despite the fact that there's no purchase on as far as it is. What difference to me if he sold the animal to an ordinary person, or what difference to me if he sold it to heaven by makdashit? The animal changes ownership, it's considered a sale, and it's not matter if the new owner is an ordinary person or he works for the Bava Kamah.